Before we wrap up, I do want to ask this question. I'm going to ask this question, then there will be a follow-up question that will close us out. Briefly, most overrated and most underrated wrestling characters that you've seen. I'm going to start with the man with the I don't want to answer this question face, don't put me on blast, Steve, and then we'll go with Tom and then Demetrius.
Wow.
Overrated,
You know what?
underrated.
And it's not because I have like an answer in mind that it's a tough question.
Okay.
I would say the most overrated character. You know, I think, gosh, that's tough.
Is there one that sticks out that's underrated, that you would say is underrated?
Yeah, I've got an overrated. I think overrated as far as exposed and pushed as a big star and wasn't really there, the Ultimate Warrior. As much as I liked the Ultimate Warrior, sorry, I liked Warrior. He's exciting, but if you watch him as an adult, you know, like there's nothing there. There's just nothing there. It's not exciting. The guy was a headache. So I'd say Ultimate Warrior is probably overpushed, overrated, underrated. And this is going to sound crazy because it became a big deal. CM Punk, because Punk was huge from 11 to 14 when he left. And everything about CM Punk being a smaller indie wrestling-based guy, him becoming a star, opened the door for all of the guys that are stars now. Like everyone who's been a star the last few years in WWE, besides the few giants, besides Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, are all in the mold of CM Punk. Seth Rollins, Jon Moxley, Daniel Bryan. All of those happened because Punk broke through. And I don't think he'll ever get the credit he deserves because he and WWE left on such terrible terms. But you don't have this whole crop of guys if CM Punk does not break through the glass ceiling in 2011.
You know, that's a great point. But let the record show that Steve has said that the Ultimate Warrior is overrated. We at Straight No Chaser, we encourage everyone to drink responsibly. that was strictly coming from the alcohol, I'm sure, because the Ultimate Warrior is a legend on these airwaves.
Well, I'm sorry, Warrior Nation, or whatever he said, his little warriors.
The little warriors like the Hulkamaniacs.
Yes.
It's funny because a guy that I was having a conversation with earlier, shout out to Dennis Sibbett. He was saying the Ultimate Warrior better get mentioned on today's show, and it's unfortunate that he gets mentioned on the most overrated. You know, shout out Dennis Sibbett.
I'm sorry, Dennis.
Don't worry, Dennis. I got you on the next one because the follow-up question, he's going to be on there. But yeah, that's interesting that you throw the Ultimate Warrior because he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So interesting enough. Demetrius, how about you?
I would.
Demetrius was going to say it too, for the record. Demetrius was going to say it too.
I got your back, Steve. I got your back 100%. Ultimate Warrior was this jacked up, can't wrestle Nimrod. He opened his mouth and nonsense fell out. He made no sense. He looked like $1 million, but he made no sense as a character. And, you know.
Yeah, as JR would say, he was all sizzle, no steak.
100%. 100%. All sizzle, no steak. But he made a lot of money. He drew a lot of money. So the fact that he wasn't my batch of whiskeys, whatever. But, yeah, I think he was criminally overrated. As far as underrated, I love the CM Punk analogy. I'll stay in that same kind of lane with I was going to say Daniel Bryan, but he's not some really great accomplishments in his time. But who I'm going to say is Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was a guy who got into WWE at the age of like 20. And he kind of just threw him in a tag team with a friend of his, and then they partnered him up with Edge, and then he kind of floundered around. But then he took the initiative on himself to start doing some things outside of the WWE umbrella. He kind of created, kind of in the earlier days of YouTube, kind of carved out his own niche, created a really good organic following for himself. And I'll never forget, I think The Rock was on TV. It was in Madison Square Garden. He was cutting a promo, and the crowd starts chanting, "We want Ryder." I don't even know if Ryder's even in the building. Yeah, wow, Rock's cutting a promo. I think he's got the belt over his shoulder, hyping up WrestleMania or something. But the people wanted Zack Ryder based on what Zack Ryder had done for himself. And that's huge. And he never really got his due I don't think. He got a few moments here and there, but he was he just got released from WWE recently, but he had a nice 15-year run.
Okay.
Even while most of it was under the radar, but I felt like they left a lot of meat on the bone with him. But hey, he got paychecks for 15 years, so I guess I probably can't call him underrated. There's more paychecks from Vince McMahon than I'll ever see. So,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm just going to go on record to say, Dennis Sibbett, I tried. I'm a Warrior fan myself, but we've got Rich Lang and also, let's see. We've got Rich Lang and Charlie Nachinsky. Rich Lang and Charlie Nachinsky, who also agree that the Ultimate Warrior is overrated.
For the record, those are both my friends.
Both your friends.
Rich was my best man. Rich was my best man at my wedding, and Charlie is my co-host on the podcast.
Guys,
That
welcome
just
to
means
the
they
show.
got good
Although
sense.
you'll never be
That's
on the
all.
show because you're Ultimate Warrior haters.
Hey, I agree with them. So,
Okay.
Stan, I'm going to send you some matches of like big guys who can actually work, and then we'll see what you think about Ultimate Warrior after. Well,
No.
Tom, Steve, I'll coach them up. We'll get them on.
oh, we'll see. Once I get to mine, I think everybody's gonna forget about that because
Well, it's on you.
I guarantee you, my buddy Rich is gonna turn on me for this one. But as far as overrated, as far as overexposure, I mean, definitely had the charisma and the drawing power, but just too much, just always in your face, shoved down your throat, and it got very old at certain points. Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
I mean, I loved Hulk Hogan when I was a kid. I loved the whole Hulkamania thing. It lasted way too long.
Mm-hmm.
When he changed his character in '96, I loved it. It was great. But the original, the yellow and red, the Hulk Hogan, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, it got so stale after a little while.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the guy couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be my overrated is Hulk Hogan. As great as he was for the business, as much as he built the business up, it got to be too much. And as far as underrated, I'm gonna, kind of play off of what Steve said. He mentioned CM Punk and all the people that came after him. That Punk kind of opened those doors for him. One person that came along before that who would have thrived in that opportunity and just didn't get the chance was Dean Malenko.
I've heard that name.
I mean, fantastic technical wrestler. I mean, that's like my style that I love is the technical submission type wrestling. And Malenko was a master of it. And the only thing working against him was his size. He was like 5'8" and 180 pounds or something like that. At that time, the mid 90s, when he was at his peak, it just, when he moved to WWE, he kind of got lost in the shuffle. He never got any type of push to to get an opportunity at a main event level or anything like that. And I just think had he come along 10 years later, he would have been in that Daniel Bryan spot or that CM Punk spot or something like that. So underrated, definitely Dean Malenko.
So let me just say something. This Ultimate Warrior thing has struck a nerve with fans. Either you're polar opposites. Either you're pro Warrior or you're just your feelings a little.
Either you're pro Warrior or you just don't know any better.
Oh, okay, is that what it is?
You're either if you like Warrior, it's just because you haven't seen enough wrestling since you were like 9. That's
I remember
probably
the game WrestleFest, and I used to use Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior as a tag team all the time. So.
Well, yeah, because in the video game they actually had wrestling moves.
But remember, it's all scripted, remember? So Brenda O'Donnell says, sorry, son, but I still love the Warrior.
That's my mother.
I know. Rich Lang, you're an awful jackass. Charlie Nachinsky, not a Warrior hater, disagreeing. He's one of the most overrated people in wrestling. And by the way, I nailed the name. So, the Warrior, who would have known that the Warrior would have gotten the conversation going amongst fans? So great. I love to have the interaction and feedback with the fans. The last question.